like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here, I got time, it's clear to see.
Okay, this is episode 1, and we're going to have fun with this. This is episode 1 of learning to become multidimensionally aware. And this is very, very important. And so I'm Duane, the Great Writer, and I'm here with Val, Dean Val, and Dean Kevin of the UNUversal University. And we're here to help save the planet Earth, because a lot of things are going on here and people are making choices. And so we are here to help people understand how they have been misinformed, basically, over lifetimes and actually eons. So we're going to use the so-called known and unknown human history as an example. And that's all now, as it is a reference, not a reality, but something that we have experienced, all of us in our own way. And it is a reference. And so more so than just 100 or 200 or 300 years so-called ago, all of human history to a point to where were the invented systems that we know of today? Where were they? Well, they weren't, and that's real. And so there was the natural environment, and we were having our experiences on this planet and others, many others, in creation, which basically has 5 levels: physical, astral, causal, mental worlds, etheric, etc., deep dark border. And then beyond that is the real universes of endless freeness. But we're not going to get into that right now. We're going to start off at step 1 here. And that is through the ages, and just even looking at recent human history of 100, 200, 300 years ago. We'll just go back to the cowboy and Indian days when the Indians were here, the indigenous people, before the Europeans came over. And there was no literalized society according to what is taking place today, just a short 250 or 300 years ago. Because the indigenous people, their reality, their focus, their life was with the all-natural environment. And they didn't destroy the environment. They enhanced it. They looked to the environment for their survival, etc. And they themselves also were multidimensional in their own way in creation. And they looked to, other areas besides just their physical reality. And so according to their understanding and their experiences, they brought that in. Well, as the white man came along from the European source, we'll just say, because we know history, etc., all of that gradually changed into what we have today. And so as each person, just for this lifetime, as you've grown up, as each person has grown up in this lifetime, take a look at your life and how you've been taught and raised by your parents and the schooling system, the society, the governments, whatever's out there, and all these invented systems from politics, religion, science, education. Today we have technology, etc. And these systems that have come along and been invented accordingly, and what most people don't realize is that as we've been raised in this lifetime, we have been purposely indoctrinated to see things according to a literalization of a mind control. Even though we may think in our own minds, in our own way, in our own being, that we are free thinkers, which we are. You can think whatever you want, but really it goes along with what the social behavior and the social indoctrination has become. And just like when we were in high school, we wanted to belong, we wanted friends. So good, bad, or indifferent, just like our mother would tell us many times, or our parents, well, if your friend jumps off a bridge, are you going to do that too? Well, again, the idea was that, hey, we wanted to fit in. And even if it was to dare something or to be courageous or even crazy or nutty, we wanted to fit in. And this is the society we're living in. We live in a literalized, one-dimensional, purposely poisoned world. And how has it come to be so? Because people have agreed to their literal upbringing and education that it's all okay. So looking at the systems of politics, religion, science, education, technology, whatever, those that control this world and other worlds, etc., and even into other dimensions, mainly the astral and physical realm. These are the shapeshifters. They control this world. They have gotten people to agree to be literalized according to the systems that they have invented. So when people say, well, I believe in this God or this deity, or I believe in this, well, that is because people have been raised with the idea that there is a belief according to whatever deity has been invented by the world controllers, and the same with politics or the educational system or whatever. And they want you to go through the educational system because actually most people don't realize they are educating you to become evil and to become a destroyer. And look at these people that have accomplished so much, that are so-called rich in the world, etc., chasing the created money of the governments that control others. And that is, do they get better? Do they give to humanity or whatever? They seem to, but realistically, they don't. They like their control over others, which is fine. They have free will. They can do whatever they want. Everybody can. But they've become literalized according to the society, and they're more than happy to make a profit, even though they have more than they need, you might say, off the labor and the bodies of others, and watching them die and the environment being destroyed. This is very real. It's happening every day. And there's a very good video that Val and I watched. I'm sure Kevin watched it too. They've already done some videos on it, etc. Planet of the Humans. And who was that fella, Val, that produced that? Michael Moore was part of it, but
Michael Moore produced it. Jeff Gibbs directed it.
Yeah, that's a very good one to see. And there's many, many more. There's another one on Netflix called Seaspiracy, showing how the oceans of the world are almost dead. And this is just within the last 200 to 300 years. How can this happen? Well, people have agreed literally to the systems of demise that have been created. So anyone can take on the challenge to see through this, become multidimensional and more aware, and eventually get into a position where they are totally self-sufficient. And that's why we are here. More so than any of the religious, spiritual, political systems, etc. These things have had their day, but it is a new now, and we are here to show people how to become multidimensional so they can see for themselves what is really taking place. So it's kind of like when you're sitting in the audience and you see the person on stage speaking, but if you were to get up and go behind the curtain and see what's going on, you would see a different view from what that person is saying. So we're going to show you how to see behind the many curtains, more so than just, oh, the government is bad and we got this and that and whatever. Even more so than that, and show everyone, if they're willing, if they want to take the risk to see. But then again, a lot of people don't, because they want their la-la land here. You see, people have been indoctrinated and literalized to think that, oh, I'll build my happy home here, I'll build my castle and my riches here, and oh, I'll pass away and I'll be part of history. Well, you will, because you will be coming back in future lifetimes again and again and again, unconscious, as things get worse and worse. And we aren't predicting doom here, but it's more than obvious. You know, it's just like a car driving off a cliff. It's, as it's busted through the rail and going down, well, it's easy to see it's going to crash. So it's not about, oh, don't say bad things about that crashing car. It's about, it's going to crash. And everything's going over the falls. It is, because there is a huge unconscious agreement. And this also leads into the black holes in the galaxies, because that is a part of the unconscious agreement of demise that people agree to and they do not see, because there is a created consciousness here. And consciousness only exists in creation. It is not the reality of ourselves. We are a true awareness, and we are able to have a multidimensional awareness of what is going on in creation, so that we can supersede creation altogether and be self-sufficient, instead of just being the effect of cause and effect creation. So this literalization, and to understand this, and this is a real education for people to look at, because they feel so good with what they've accomplished through, their high school diploma, their degrees that they got from college, and even into universities and PhDs and whatever. Well, you have been literalized purposely, and you constantly agree to the system, and unconsciously you're helping to destroy it, but you don't recognize it. But you can think what you want, but it's not about what you think. And see, this is where they've got people. Just because people think of something, they think that, oh, I know it. So in other words, it's like the chemtrails in the sky, or the poison in your water or your air. You can think, oh, I don't believe that. You see, you can think that because you've been literalized to think so. But the actuality of it is really taking place no matter what you think. Again, your thinking is according to the literalized systems that have indoctrinated you. And if you look at the birds and the bees and the animals, they don't agree with any of this, because they haven't been indoctrinated like you have. So there is a better view and a way to make better choices, but you got to take the risk to step outside of your created consciousness of a one-dimensional, controlled, literalized matrix. That's up to you. That's why we're here. We'll show you how to do it. Okay, so I'm going to introduce Val and Kevin, and they're going to say a few things here, and then we'll wrap up episode 1 here of learning to become multidimensional aware.
Yeah, thanks, Duane. To step out of that one-dimensional consciousness that we've created for ourselves, well, you need to decide to do it, first of all. Be willing, allow it to, say, life show you how to do this, but first decide to do it. I was talking to this woman this morning, actually, about her experience. It was just basically a decision she made from being a liberal a couple years ago to the beginning of this COVID situation, where she saw that things were not really as it was in her past experience. So she made a decision. It was just something that clicked within her. So she made a decision to basically become more aware of what was going on in the moment, and not go with her belief and her thinking how it was in the past. So she made a conscious decision to go with becoming more aware of what was going on with this COVID situation. So that's what it takes. It takes a conscious decision to do something to become more aware, allow whatever life shows you, and be willing to be shown how to become more multidimensional. And that's just the start. And I know many people who have taken, and myself included, who have made a decision to do something, and both here in the physical and on, we call it the real side or the dream state, made a decision to do something. And then from there, it does take some, basically, you have to continue with this decision, be creative, and be so that it does take endurance and stamina to go with this decision that you've made. But that's the first step, basically, if you decide to do it, to want to do it. So I'll give it over to Kevin.
And yes, creation is a vast, multi-dimensional simulator, like a giant computer game, and all our body vehicles are like avatars within this game. What we really are, this real awareness, animates and is through these body vehicles, and we have then our experiences in creation according to the choices and decisions we make. Our experiences always are the effects of these choices, as creation is designed this way, cause and effect mechanics, that always must then produce experiences according to our individual design. Each consciousness then becomes constructed based on our choices, and not only are our experiences generated from this consciousness construction, but our body forms too. And every consciousness also is interwoven with every other, a collective consciousness, which affects then this overall simulator arena which we all share. And then we make our individual choices within this overall simulator stadium. And as the consciousness overall affects overall the simulator, so as the consciousness rather becomes overburdened with the idea choices and agreements of restriction and control, just like a computer that struggles under the load of continually added data to its files, so does the simulator go through its stages of decay and deterioration as the overall consciousness becomes compounded with agreement, idea, restriction. And as Duane said, this gives rise to black holes, and also that the simulator overall becomes gradually dark, an engulfing darkness that slowly spreads throughout all the dimensions of it, as a reflected effect of the unconsciousness and the restricting ideas within the consciousness that cause the simulator its demise. Eventually, the simulators implode, as this deterioration is taken to its inevitable conclusion. But through awareness, and with each individual withdrawing agreement from restricting consciousness, can this adverse impact on the simulator be offset by fractions and degrees.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time. It's clear to see from up here. The world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be